I feel like since I've just blown my nose in front of you, we've already kind of broken the ice.
I like that.
However, I have an icebreaker question for you that's very important to me, which is, what accent do you find sexiest?
This sounds like a cop-out, but I'm just going to go for it because I believe it. The sexiest accent is the one that is unapologetic.
What do you mean by that?
Whether English is your second language or you have an accent that you know sort of codes for not from around here, or you're an actor putting on one, there are just two very different ways we can show up. And of course, there's like 80 billion ways, so it's kind of a joke to say that, but there's like two general categories. And one is the version where you're trying to hide so that people don't quite see you or hear you. And the other is where you don't. And that's the work that we're really doing with people, right? It's sound stuff meets this bigger thing of how do I show up without apology? Sounding the way I sound or the way my character sounds because it's right. And because it's like the embodiment of humanity right where I am.
Actually, I want to say, I asked the VASA community, the Voice and Speech Trainers Association, I asked the community of dialect coach and voice professors that I've been asking people this question of what accent they think is sexiest often. And a lot of times people will say like a gravelly, like voice. And I was like, that's not good for you.
That code's for unhealthy.
Yeah, why are we attracted to that? Like if I'm trying to teach people how to be resonant and free with their voice, am I making them unattractive?
So, like, I mean, I don't know, we could theorize.
The responses they varied from we're attracted to brokenness to some people say that it reflects a state of arousal where your vocal cords swell a little bit.
Well, it suggests also, I mean, that's fascinating. It suggests also that there is something about a clean voice that has no gravel that also maybe our goal, and maybe a voice professional who cares about health goal, but that codes for all of us as listeners as not quite human. And the life we've lived coming out in our voice is what makes us connect vocally with people, right? So a gravelly voice also means like,
you've lived.
Shit just went down. I mean, like stuff has happened. Either just like literally, the night before or accumulated. I remember being taught that sort of neutral was ideal. Which is a physical posture as well as a vocal posture. But the idea, that pinginess that we talked about at the beginning, if you're like thinking entirely about being pingy and resonant and having enough voice you also come across as a not quite human being.
Right.
And then the question is, well, what do we do with that?
Right. Yeah, because so many dialect coaches are like, hello, I'm a dialect coach. It's so nice to meet you. And
I so respect it and I so don't want it for myself.
Ditto. Yeah.
And I know that I've connected.
Either.
That's right. That I've connected with people because I don't have that.
Yeah.
And because I literally sound like, and we all sound, unless we're, trying hard not to, sound like the life we've actually lived, including the places that we grew up and the way our parents sounded and the way our friends sounded and the feelings we had about that, which is completely legit and valid. And then where we went next and what we did in that first room of power that we were in, where we were reading the room and trying to adjust, and what we did in that other room, and what we did when we dated that person, and what we did in that job, and who our friends are now that we spend the most time with and what they sound like. And the fact that that's how humans are, that in fact the more empathetic and the more sort of adventure-seeking we are, the more we're going to inevitably accumulate versions of ourselves from all the rooms we've been in, and then we show up in this one and we're like, this is me. It's like, it's just a celebration of humanity unless we decide it's a problem.